Tone Deaf is the journey of a musical theater nerd, bringing musicals into the life of their musically challenged spouse. The reactions to the musicals are real and mostly unedited. This show is for ages 14 and up, because sometimes you just need to use a swear. Now sit back, relax, and have a laugh. You're listening to Tone Deaf.
Welcome to Tone Deaf, a theater nerd's guide for their musically challenged spouse. I'm Kay, a musical theater nerd.
And I'm Warren. I'm musically challenged.
Well, it's been 10 episodes, can you believe it?
It's been an interesting 10 episodes.
Yes, it has, and it's about to get even more interesting because do you know what 10 episodes means?
Weber Week?
Yeah, it's Weber Week!
The Webster has returned.
The Webster has returned, and today we're going to be doing Andrew Lloyd Webber's first published show. It's Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat.
Which I have heard that name a lot.
Yes.
And I don't think I know anything about it, other than there is a coat with a lot of colors.
Yes. Well, fun fact, we're actually celebrating its 50th anniversary this year.
Oh wow, congratulations.
Yeah.
Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor 50-year-old Dreamcoat.
So there's a little bit of background for this. So it's based very loosely on the story of Joseph, the 11th son of Jacob, also known as Israel, from the book of Genesis, specifically chapter 37.
Is Jacob a son of Abraham?
He is the son of Isaac, who was the son of Abraham.
Okay, so Abraham's great-grandson.
Yes. And he is the founder of the 12 tribes of Israel.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So there's a little bit of background for you.
So this podcast is doubling as a comedy, tragedy, and Bible study.
Yes, with me, it probably will be partly Bible study.
It's not your fault, you're knowledgeable.
Thanks. So, Joseph, as a musical, was originally written in 1968. It was a cantata for the Colette Court School of London.
It was a katana? Like a samurai sword?
A cantata. So, a cantata would be, think of like a choir production, but the whole production is just one song that's broken up into multiple movements.
Interesting. I don't think I have anything I can think of to fill in the gaps. So this will
no
be interesting.
worries, you did not go to parochial school like I did.
No.
So this was commissioned by one of the music teachers at this school, Andrew Lloyd Webber and Tim Rice. Tim Rice helped with Lion King and Aladdin and Beauty and the Beast and...
Oh yeah, Tim Rice and Bill Quinoa.
What?
Oh, I thought we were naming people in grains.
Oh man, this is going to be a long one.
I love when I break you.
Whew. So, Tim Rice, we're going to be running into him some more. He and Weber worked on this one for this school. It was a 15-minute cantata when it started out.
So the whole show was just 15 minutes?
Yes, 15-minute show.
Sounds like speedrun production.
Well, I mean, the story of Joseph isn't super long in the Bible. It is one chapter, but when you look at chapters, they're not long sections of the Bible.
So what you're saying is some liberties were taken with the source material.
Yes, some liberties indeed were taken with the source material. The cantata was eventually published by Novello, as part of their Old Testament cantatas. They also did one about the book of Daniel. I want to say they did one about the book of Jonah as well. Or not the book of Jonah. Is there a book of Jonah?
Is there a book of Warren?
No, there's not.
There should be.
Now I'm sitting here, though, going, okay, Kay, do you remember your books of the Bible? And no, I don't. I can't remember if Jonah got his own book or not.
Excellent, I have corrupted you fully.
Used to have those memorized.
Come, Kay, follow me to the dark side.
But I'm already there.
Black joke.
So, the Novello ended up publishing it, like I said, and then it was expanded to fill a 20-minute, 19-track album in 1969.
So that is quite a bit of expanding.
About 5 minutes of expansion.
Oh, that's it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah, it was only expanded 5 more minutes.
Oh, sorry, 19 minutes. Yeah, I heard 19 track in so 1 minute tracks. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense if I listen fully and use my brain.
Then fine.
Things make sense.
You're fine. So, an amateur production was performed in 1970 at the Cathedral College of Immaculate Conception in New York.
The Immaculate Conception?
Yes.
Okay.
That's...
Yeah, that's that's interesting that they named a place the Cathedral of Immaculate Conception.
Yeah, because that's Mary.
Yeah.
Mary had the Immaculate Conception, and that's why Jesus was born a virgin.
Just, I don't know why that surprises me to name an entire building after getting pregnant without sex.
Because Mary's super important in the Catholic Church.
Yeah. Okay, let's continue.
We aren't doing Jesus Christ Superstar right now. Wrong Weber show. So, in 1971, the Young Vic Theatre performed it at the Edinburgh International Festival, and this production was 35 minutes long. So they had added to it.
Slowly getting longer and longer.
Yeah, it's slowly getting longer, and the Young Vic Theatre Company actually became instrumental in expanding the show into a 2-act musical. So up until this point, it was still just one small act. A 2-act performance of the show wasn't done until 1974 at the Haymarket Theatre.
Was it produced by the Old Vic?
No.
Just makes sense. If it's getting longer and longer, it started with New Vic, it ends with Old Vic. It's a perfectly logical thought there.
Vic Supreme.
Vic Supreme. Final Vic.
So in 1982, they added a prologue to the show. And the prologue is going to be... it's going to stay in the show from this point on. And in 1991, they actually took the song that the show ended with, Any Dream Will Do, and they moved it to the beginning of the show and then made a reprise of it at the end.
And I know what reprise means.
You do know what reprise means. What does it mean?
It means that a thing that reoccurs, that comes back.
Yes. So, this show also had a song removed, and later we're going to get to hear that song or parts of that song in future Weber shows. I believe that they even brought it into their actual first show, which was in 1965, but we're not going to cover that one yet, because that one didn't get produced until 2005.
Okay, so is it like books of the Bible that they just decide to leave out? They're like, this isn't needed.
Songs get removed from shows all the time. It happens.
I'm saying, like, if you start with 15 minutes and then you end into a full 2-act musical, it seems kind of interesting to, like, leave stuff out.
It's more of, does it fit the show? Does it... Maybe something works better there. It's like when you're revising a show or a book, like you're taking parts out, putting new parts in. Except it's live. Or it's like George Lucas and all of his extraneous additions into the Star Wars movies.
Gotta add, so there's CGI in this?
There is a CGI camel.
There's a CGI camel, which is like a camel. It's like a comedic camel. Or a magical camel.
It's funny because there's this show, the way that it's produced, it's been done so much that there are different things that they add in. Like this one, you're gonna see them actually like show sheep going across the stage. There aren't real sheep; they're just plastic sheep. Or you'll have this group of slave traders that are taking Joseph away with camels, and the camels kind of interact on stage sometimes, and yeah, it's interesting. And then you could have productions like what I did that were very pared down, because amateur theaters can do it all the time too.
Neat.
It's produced by everybody.
So is it like public rights or anything like that, or
It's not public rights. You do have to
public domain?
rent.
That's the word.
Yeah, no, it's not public domain. You do have to rent the rights to do the show, but it's not restricted like with Les Mis, how Les Mis used to be only professional theater groups could do this, or only high school groups could do this. Now, a community theater could do Les Mis.
Oh.
Joseph, it's been in that stage a lot longer.
Okay, interesting.
Yep. So, I've got a quiz for you.
I didn't study.
This being an Andrew Lloyd Webber show, we can automatically assume that this is what kind of musical?
I know the answer to this.
What is it?
It's a sung-through musical.
Yes, it is a sung-through musical. Woo! And using this whole thing, because it started as a cantata, that's kind of what a cantata is. It's a sung-through.
That makes
but
sense.
It's shorter.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, no,
that makes
fine.
sense given that it's done by like a choir.
Yes.
From what you were saying.
The original was.
Well,
now it's way expanded, except there is an ode to the original version of this. Or a nod. Not an odd.
An odd nod.
An odd nod to the original version of Joseph. There is a children's choir.
Oh, I'm going to resist making a child choir joke about the Catholic
Yeah,
Church.
let's not make that joke. So, not all productions utilize one, but it does pop up. The one that we're going to be watching does have a children's choir in it. When I first saw it at Kingsbury Hall in, I want to say it was 1998, they had a children's choir there, and sometimes touring productions can utilize different choirs that are in the area. The choir that was at Joseph was a Utah-based choir, even though it was the touring production. This is a pretty big cast. You've got Joseph, you've got the narrator, you've got Jacob, you've got Joseph's 11 brothers, you've got Jacob's wives, you've got an adult chorus, you've got a children's chorus, but sometimes they just pare it down to Joseph, Jacob, the brothers, the wives, that's it. That was the one that I was in. We pared it down pretty low. We did have 4 narrators, though, and they were double cast.
So 8 narrators?
Well, you had 2 Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and 2 Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday.
Okay.
So, it worked. So, there are various musical styles in this show, and the main idea when watching this is to have fun. So don't take this show seriously.
After last week, well, actually not last week, but the week before, I'm very glad to hear that.
Yes, this is a fun show. It does have a story, so it's not going to be like Charlie Brown, where there was no story. It's going to have a story. It is going to teach you a little bit about the Bible story, but it's not preachy about it.
So can I take a guess at what the story is?
Sure.
It's about Joseph and his coat, which has many colors,
Mm-hmm.
and the adventures that he goes on wearing his coat.
Sure.
Nailed it!
We'll see. So, we're going to go watch Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, and during this intermission, let's hear from our amazing Technicolor sponsors. All right, Warren. It's time for the best part of every intermission.
Getting snacks that we can't bring back into the theater?
Even better. Now that the lights are back up, we can look into the playbill.
This week, we are sponsored by the One More Angel Saloon. Have nightmares been plaguing you every night? Have you realized that maybe attempting fratricide wasn't a good idea? Well, come on down to the One More Angel Saloon and drink your troubles away. Try our bitter 11 Sheaves whiskey, and if you're feeling daring, ask for Potiphar's wife. If you're smart, then maybe you won't end up in jail. You'll want to go down to our saloon and kick back. Remember, we're the One More Angel Saloon, where any drink will do.
Here are the people who donated $5 or more to make this show possible.
And the prestigious spot of our very first Tone Deaf Patreon sponsor is Jasmine Wu. Thank you so much for your contribution to our show. We deeply appreciate it. Your contribution is what makes Tone Deaf possible.
Thank you so much. And here's a message from one of our favorite podcasts called History on Blast.
Hello, and welcome to History on Blast. I'm Hillary, and I'll be your host as we call out history. Every other week, we'll be putting a different person, place, time, or event on blast for the shit that they pulled. This ain't your grandpa's history podcast, so if this sounds like your cup of harbor tea, be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast catcher.
And now, the lights are going down and the music is starting back up, so let's hop into the second act of the show. Alright, so what'd you think?
What a show of much, much weirdness. Such a colorful show of much, much weirdness. It was entertaining. It was very bizarre for me, personally.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah, I almost feel like I have musical whiplash from this, because every song was like a completely different genre or style, and to be fair, it showcased the cast's ability to perform different pieces.
Yes.
Is every single version of it like that?
Yes.
Okay, so it's not unique to the one we watched. That's how it is.
That is how it is.
Fantastic. So Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat show starts off with a school assembly for some reason, with a bunch of judgmental-looking adults who walk in, including a pissed-off Richard Attenborough, obviously recruiting dinosaur snacks for his new theme park. Because kids love dinosaurs. You would, if he'd showed up at your school and said, "Who wants to go to a theme park full of dinosaurs?" You'd have been like, me!
Except I would have seen Jurassic Park and seen him and been like...
This is before Jurassic Park. This is before.
This came out after.
I'm saying, before... This is where he went to get his inspiration for Jurassic Park.
Yeah, but I wouldn't have been old enough to be a dinosaur snack. And even then, I would have been genre savvy.
This is true.
I would have been like...
You'd have been the one kid going, guys, I think this is a bad idea.
I'll watch on the news.
Sir, do you have a permission slip that my mother can sign? And then when the narrator comes in, and she's singing to the children initially, and then she gets very touchy and up close with some of the kids, and I'm just thinking, don't touch the kids, lady, that's against school policy. And then we, of course, get to have a smoke scene as fog rolls into the room, and we get to see Donny Osmond coming in, looking all handsome with long hair, and now I know why you wanted me to grow my hair long. It's probably from seeing this as a child, and you're like,
No.
Sure. And I have down here, don't get jealous of your wife's early crush. Don't do it. Resist the hate.
Well, I mean, I also had a crush on Maria Friedman, the narrator, so...
I have nothing to compare with that person, nothing to be jealous of. True. That's where the crowbar separation comes in.
That was one of those bisexual awakenings as a child. Was, oh, she's cute too.
Just put it this way: I will never feel jealous of a woman that you're attracted to.
Fair.
Stay away from the kids, Joseph, you creeper. He was also getting close into the kids' eyes and giving creepy faces. I'm sure it's purely innocent, but still,
Yeah.
stay away, Joseph, you creeper. Someone contact CPS before the kids end up on the 9 o'clock news.
It's not like they're gonna get stolen or sucked into the past or anything.
That's exactly what happens.
Spoilers!
That's exactly what happens. Then Joseph stares into the screen and gives this menacing look, and any dream will do. Any dream will do. And then we get to see Jacob and his 12 sons, including Joseph, and the one black son.
Yes.
The one black son. I would have to see a black wife. Otherwise, someone's been lying to you, Jacob.
So there's actually something kind of interesting. So the black son is Judah. And Judah is sort of one of the last tribes of Israel. And there's actually a lot of, the Lion of Judah, that sort of thing. And Ethiopia kind of has a tie to that tribe of Israel. So it's kind of an interesting, I don't think they meant to do it, considering the song that Judah sings.
So really, really stupid question, because it should give it away in the name. Is Judas from the tribe of Judah?
No.
Really?
I don't, well, okay, so by that point you have technically three tribes of Israel. You've got Judah, Benjamin, and I want to say Simeon. And a lot of Israelites at the time believed they were from the tribe of Benjamin or Judah. And Benjamin was kind of a sub-tribe of Judah after. I don't want to go into a whole Bible study.
That's fair.
But
You answered my root question of if Judas was a tribe of Judah. Because my brain would go, well, the name sounds similar, so yeah, of course.
It's kind of like, it's kind of a more common name, I would say, kind of like, Yeshua or Simeon or Peter or anything like that. But yeah, it was one of those things that later on, doing some study and stuff, I was like, oh, I want to believe that that's the reason that Andrew Lloyd Webber decided to, make a nod to the Lion of Judah and the tribe of Judah, and not going, I'm gonna have the black guy sing a calypso song later.
I'm getting to that. Don't you think that I didn't notice that? So, and then the Bible, of course, loves its family squabbling and sibling rivalry.
Of course.
Because the 12 brothers are super jealous of how much their father loves. Well, I guess I should say the 11 brothers are super jealous of how much the father loves Joseph.
And there's a reason for that.
There's a reason for that.
Joseph and Benjamin were from Jacob's favorite wife.
How many wives did Jacob have?
2. He had Leah and Rachel.
Okay, wow. So 12 sons from 2 wives? I was expecting at least triple that.
Yeah, there's 2 mentioned by name, if I remember right, and then you have...
I mean, I guess, granted, this wasn't the time period where your children were expected to probably die.
Yeah, and there's a whole, there's a whole story behind the 2 wives, because he loved Rachel, but he was tricked into marrying Leah, which is the mother of the other wives. And so
mother
he had
of the
to
other
do...
wives?
Or mother of the other sons.
Let's say that gave this story a whole different twist.
Mother of the other sons.
Gotcha.
But
I did have the thought when they were giving Joseph his Technicolor Dreamcoat. You don't know this, but I wonder if this story is somewhat inspiration for the Gleemen from the Wheel of Time series. The Gleemen are basically traveling storytellers, and their signature apparel is that they have a coat of many colors. And it's basically multicolored patches is the way to describe it. But I do know Robert Jordan talked about he mined the culture and mythology of lots of different religions.
Yeah,
so
maybe.
It was a thought that popped in my mind because I saw that and I was like, well, I wonder if that's what the Gleeman's coat's going to look like. But granted, this was probably prettier than what an actual Gleeman's coat. So my nerd fantasy side tangent is over now. I feel like the coat of every color they listed would be an eyesore.
Oh, yeah.
The coat he wears does not have all the colors that they list. This musical is false advertising because it's mostly a rainbow coat. Granted, there's there are colors in there that are not in the normal light spectrum. I mean, I should not light spectrum, but the normal rainbow. But it does not have all the colors that they listed, because that coat would make your eyes bleed.
But it's catchy, you know.
Just a coat of the colors.
It was red and yellow and green and brown and scarlet and black. Okay, I won't finish it.
Because it does go on for a little while.
It does.
Yeah, careful with those hands. Brother number 5, the narrator is not your wife. There's a scene where he gets a little handsy and leans some hips and right there on the chest, and I was kind of like, no.
Some of
No
these
touchy.
more fun Andrew Lloyd Webber shows tend to do that, and it's a little weird.
Fun in scare quotes. And then a good old brotherly attempted murder, toss him in a pit and let him die.
Yep.
And that was, I mean, to be expected, I guess, because they're all jealous of him. And then I mostly felt bad for the poor goat. It didn't do anything other than be in the wrong place at the wrong time, and Joseph is now a slave, so that sucks too, I guess, but the poor goat. Joseph is a man. He'll be able to get out of these shenanigans, but that goat, man, it was just a poor little goat.
Were you sad about the deer in Get Out too? Jeez.
Maybe. Not overly sad, because...
You were more worried about
True.
the main character, as you should be.
But it was funny watching this. Just they have this little the goat puppet come out and stuff, and they're just ripping limbs off of it. And
Well, and what's sad is that the movie cuts it out, but the camel puppet sings at one point to Joseph, and it's hilarious.
The overall, like, I know I'm bragging on it because that's what I do, but the overall musical, it was very kid friendly. Like, I can see why
it's a very kid friendly.
It takes place in an elementary school kind of thing. It almost seems like a Sunday school musical.
It is. It absolutely is a Sunday school musical.
Yeah. I mean, when you consider all of the adult content that is in the Old Testament, this is a very child-friendly way to approach a lot of that subject material.
Yes.
Let's see. As he gets thrown into a pit, Joseph is rocking that hard slave bod. I can't help but notice that.
Oh, I see the Middle Eastern jazz to slavery hip hop.
Oh, I skipped some stuff. Oh, that's because I scrolled down. I took notes on my computer instead of handwriting them, so I have way more notes than I normally do.
Which is awesome. That's good.
Awesome. But now I'm getting lost in my notes. So, poor goat, yeah. Joseph's a slave. That sucks too, I guess. And then we go from Middle Eastern jazz earlier on to slavery hip-hop, and now a Western-themed lies about their brother. Everyone has 12 sons, and then, of course, it's with Dad, it's like, the way they break the news to him, it's like, everybody who has 12 sons, stand up. Oh, not so fast, Dad.
That's actually funnier than how it's done in the show.
Reminds me of a joke that my first manager would have, and he would just be like, everybody who has a job, step forward. Whoa, not so fast, Warren. And that'd be his way of like, go home, but come back tomorrow. But, bunch of hoedown lion hoes. I kept waiting for the dad to come back and watch them celebrating an intricate, yay, Joseph's dead dance. And that's what I was laughing about, because the dad does come back and grabs the coat, and they're just like, oh, poor Joseph, as they stop celebrating that he's dead. So that's what I was laughing about, and you were like, I can't wait for your note. And then having you, the dad does come back. Keep crying those crocodile tears, you freaking liars. And nobody knows what Egyptians look like, I guess, because we cut to this. My first thought was, oh, we're in a black and white checkered TARDIS? Like,
yeah.
And then
Then it's these uppity British businessmen.
These uppity British businessmen in what almost look like pinstripe pajamas.
Yeah.
And the first time we actually see anything that looks representation-wise of Egypt was when we meet the Pharaoh and sees the Pharaoh's entourage.
Yeah.
That's the first time I'm like, okay, this is what I imagine Egypt. Before I'm like, this is not Egypt. This is wrong. I mean, granted the what's his name?
Potiphar's wife.
Potiphar's wife. It's got some Egyptian flair going on there, still with the black and white checker pattern theme going on. But let's see, we'll go back here. No one knows what Egyptians look like, I guess. Workplace harassment, go to HR, Joseph. Oh, wait. because Joseph goes to work for Potiphar, and Potiphar likes him a lot because he's a good slave. So he promotes him to head slave.
Yeah,
I guess.
pretty much.
And then his wife takes a notice to him, and she's like, which, to be fair, I was as well. But and he's rocking that hard slave bod. I can't. So I can understand her wanting to violate his person, but it's just I feel bad. I feel bad for Joseph.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't believe in free love, and she's like, well, too bad. I'm a queen. Well, not queen, but a mistress, and I get what I want.
And like he could have been put to death for it, but Potiphar loves him and is still just like, I love this guy though, so go to jail for the rest of your life.
I love that catch-22. I love you, I'm not gonna kill you, so rot in prison forever.
Yep.
Yeah, and I love all of the almost nudity.
Right?
That made me laugh so much, because at first, when it cut to, like, I want to call it the harem scene, because that's probably what it was.
Yeah.
When it cuts to the harem scene, I'm like, holy crap, that's a lot of... Oh, wait, no, it's almost nudity. It's implied nudity. There's a lot of skin-tight leotards with sparkly nipples to imply that they're actually naked.
Yes.
So that made me kind of laugh a bit. But poor old Donnie Oz Joseph gets molested on stage, and I felt really bad for him. And then that's when Potiphar comes in. Well, he's counting his money, and then he hears all the naughtiness, and then he comes in all upset because he's not getting any naughtiness. And that's when he kicks Joseph into the reprisal of the pit part 2. The pit makes a comeback, and I can't wait to see the completion of the Pit trilogy, but that doesn't happen. There's never a third pit. I was a little disappointed by the lack of 3 pits. And then Joseph, he's just huddled in on himself inside this... Well, it's funny how the pit goes down into, like, an open cell. That kind of made me laugh. And then he's, like, huddled around himself. It's like, can I have some clothes, please? The drafty pit is cold. Joseph is rock... Oh, I have it in here. Wow, I keep talking about Joseph's hard slave bod. That's the part I've been focusing on the most. I need to color code these or something. What are all these kids staring why are all these kids staring at a half-naked man in a cell? At one point when Joseph's singing about how much it sucks to be him right now, a bunch of children carrying candles come into the open cell, and I don't know what that's supposed to symbolize, really. Maybe you can tell me.
They're just all there for him while he's
Cool.
singing about being, alone, basically, but then reminding himself that, no, I'm not alone. I'm one of the children of Israel. I'm not alone. And
God is with me.
so the kids are all around with him. I mean, it is the closest way of saying God is with me without mentioning God.
True, but I mean, that is kind of what they imply.
Yeah.
I just made me laugh. Especially the one kid who walked by that looked like he was dressed like Luigi.
Yeah.
That from Super Mario Brothers. That made me laugh. I kept thinking, how about one of you open the cell for him? That would be great. This is the only prison where prisoners give you a pep talk. They gave him the cliff notes on the story. Reread the book, you come out on top. Like, hang in there, Joseph, you're not beaten yet. It's like any other prison, they'd be like, fresh meat. See, and then it transitions into a 60s themed rave party. I should have asked Kay at the beginning of this if there were going to be any LSD scenes in this show, like there were in other musicals.
And
my fault. I'm going to do that from now on. Kay, is there any LSD scenes in whatever show we're going to be watching?
Andrew Lloyd Webber, it's 50-50.
So Andrew Lloyd Webber took a lot of LSD. It would
Well,
seem.
no, it's just a lot of his shows have kind of callbacks to the 60s or the 70s, and so I mean, this one was a hard callback to. I mean, it wasn't even a callback because it was written in the 60s.
You know what it reminded me of, though? That cell dance party? It reminded me of what you haven't seen, but like the way they portray 60s parties in Austin Powers.
Oh yeah, it absolutely is, actually.
Yeah.
That is the inspiration for a lot of the stuff now in the show, because back then it was not necessarily as go-go dancery, but this is pretty much the 1991 version, and so even though this was filmed in 99, this is what came out in 91, and so you've got the go-go dancers and all of that because they're calling back to, hey, it's the 50s and
It was
60s.
It was freaking weird, is what it was. Like,
Yeah.
all the musical stuff leading up to that did not prepare me for that one. That is definitely the one that caught me off guard the most. And after seeing that one, I should have not been surprised at all for anything that came after. But I'll get to that. You know, during the LSD dance scene, we see Richard Attenborough again, high off his balls, where he sees visions of giant lizards and decides to build Jurassic Park.
Or he just puts a lay on Donny Osmond and Maria Friedman, and
I don't know what musical you were watching. I saw an old man decide to genetically experiment and bring back dinosaurs. The narrator talks to the kids, telling how there has been a run of crazy dreams. It's like, yeah, LSD dreams. Did you not see the last scene? And anybody who's taken that much LSD is bound to have some crazy dreams.
well, and that's a good comeback from, because Go 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 Joseph is the act break. So
It's called Go 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 Joseph.
Yes.
That cell dance scene.
Yes,
So Go Go Dancers and Go 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 Joseph.
yes.
I don't know
That's-
why I'm surprised at all, really, but
You know,
I
they're singing
am.
Go 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 Joseph, you know what they say.
Yeah. True. Okay. I guess it's you. Okay, you have seen.
This is true.
You have seen everything that we have done
This
so
is
far. You
true.
are much more familiar with the source material. This is my first time, Kay.
That's true.
My Joseph innocence has been taken from me for the first time. I did not know what to expect.
I should have warned you more.
I should have asked
Oh,
for the musical.
Starlight Express is going to be so much fun.
I should have asked for the musical to be gentle, but it was not. It was not gentle. I feel slightly violated in my soul. That's my fault because I knew it was based on Bible stories and I didn't know what to expect. So
You expected Bible stories. You didn't expect
I
this.
didn't expect LSD rave scenes. And then we go into the Pharaoh. We get to see the Pharaoh for the first time with his entourage. And when they took off his I don't know what that's actually called, his crown,
Yeah.
the cobra looking hood thing, his hood crown was called a hood crown. A crown. I see the Pharaoh's hair, and the first thought I had was like, oh, he's got Elvis hair. And then he frickin' goes into Elvis impersonation, singing and being the king, and I was like, oh, Pharaoh, the king, like Elvis, King Pharaoh. The Pharaoh is so extra. Like, he is playing it up so, like, yeah. Like I said, after the LSD party scene, I should not have been surprised by the Pharaoh Elvis scene.
That still surprised
But it
you.
still surprised me. It did. It really did. Joseph becomes the Pharaoh's number 2 because he's the shit. Pharaoh was appreciating Joseph's hard slave bod. And Pharaoh describes, he becomes his number 2 because he describes his dream to him, and Joseph interprets it. And he's like, hey, you're going to have 7 years of plenty and then 7 years of famine. And so, store this food so that we have food for those bad 7 years. And everybody is super happy with Joseph because he prevented mass starvations and everything by interpreting the vision. And so everybody loves Joseph. And all the Egyptian tots are just hanging around him, talk about how great he is, and Pharaoh is jelly, like a 16-year-old girl not getting the attention she wants. Like, she's like, but I'm the God King represented on this mortal plane. Why is nobody paying attention to me? It's my birthday party. And then they go into a melancholy French style of singing.
With the brothers
Yeah.
back in Canaan.
Yeah, with the brothers back in Canaan.
Starving to death, by the way.
Well, they kind of deserve it. They're a bunch of jerks who tried to murder their brother. But, so that happens. And then, is it a wife or is it a prostitute?
In the musical, they call, or not in the musical, in the movie, they have her listed as the Apache dancer.
So she's a prostitute.
Which I'm sitting here going, that is really racist, Andrew Lloyd Webber. It is 1991.
If they don't have her listed as a wife, then she's a prostitute. A prostitute comes out of a building and
I
then
will say, really quick, that part, not in the musical that I usually see.
Okay.
Like the random woman coming out and dancing, and then that's not normally in there.
Yeah, I'm going to finish that thought for you. The random woman coming out dancing, bumping and grinding, and straddling one of the brothers in a tango dance scene that's all over the map, and then takes Jacob into the back room, which we can only assume because she's like touching him and stuff. It's like, okay, they're gonna take father into the back room and make him forget about his worries.
That's normally not in this, and it's one of those things that when I was a kid, I was even like, that was weird. And then when I saw now what her character is described as, I'm like, dude, that's a little like, why would you even call her that? Because
keep in mind, for kids.
That too. That too. Like, there's enough. It's just, it is definitely very out of left field.
Yeah. And then the brothers, they see all their dead sheep. Skeletons come out, cannibalized by carrion beetles. And that's not actually in it. That's just me saying that. And they decide that they're going to go to Egypt because they've heard stories that they've got plenty of food and lots of meat, and so they decide to go to Egypt because they're all starving to death. And they come before Joseph, and they don't recognize him at all because he's come up in the world, and it has been 14 years, so that can take its natural toll on people. Joseph, of course, recognizes them and proceeds to get a little bit of well-deserved revenge upon his brothers by trolling the hell out of them. I mean, the brothers did try to kill him, so I'd probably be a little petty too. Grovel, pigs! Makes them beg and just plead, and he's just reveling in it. Just, yes, beg me for my help, you know. Yeah, so he gives them food, and I'm trying to remember.
He puts a cup.
Well, I remember that part. I'm trying because I have it down in here now. It's Caribbean singing.
Yeah, that's after.
That's after.
That.
So he gives them food, and while they're enjoying their food, he sneaks a golden cup into the youngest brother's bag to frame him for stealing. And then when the brothers are getting ready to leave, you know, being grateful that they're not starving anymore, he halt. No, my favorite cup is missing. Who took it? And makes them all empty their bags, and turns out to be the youngest brother, and so he proceeds to say that he's gonna lock him up and throw the key in the Nile, and he'll just be in prison forever. So the brothers all are pleading with Joseph, please don't lock up our baby brother. We love our baby brother. He's so good. He's so kind. He could not have done this. He must have been framed. And then it transitions into a Caribbean dance number with the one black brother.
Yeah.
Which you said you played that.
I played Judah back in high school. It wasn't a high school production. It was a community theater production. But because I can sing tenor and baritone, I played Judah and was very convincing, which kind of was a little bit of a ego boost in hindsight of, oh, well... You know, I could have, if I would have understood that being bi had been a thing, I could have reveled in the fact that...
I could have had the ladies if I wanted.
That girls thought I was attractive. But
I think you're attractive.
I'm glad. But yeah, and so another fun fact that they leave out of the musical but is in the Bible story is Benjamin was also Joseph's favorite brother.
Ah, so he frames his favorite brother.
Yes. And there's different accounts of how it went down. Usually it's that Joseph saw how much they cared for Benjamin.
Because he's the baby.
Yeah, because he's the baby, and he goes, okay, you guys have changed. Some accounts he actually talks to Benjamin, and Benjamin swears on the life of his dead brother. Like, just swears on, or not on the life, but on the memory of Joseph, and he's all... okay, I better say... Basically, Benjamin is the one who softens his heart, because Benjamin's his favorite.
You made the good point, too, because it's 14 years at least after they attempted to murder his brother, and in reality, his brother probably didn't have anything to do with it, or probably was too young to have contributed.
Yeah.
But for the purposes of the show,
You've got all 12.
You've got all 12 doing it. But yeah, so Joseph frames his brother, says he's going to, lock him in a cell, throw away the key forever and ever, and the brothers plead for Benjamin's freedom. And nothing brings a family together like framing one for theft and threats of imprisonment, because he decides that, you guys have changed, So he reveals himself to them. Do you not recognize me? And they're all happy to see him, and there's hugs and joy, and then we get to see Jacob reunited with Joseph, and Joseph's like decked out in some pretty cool apparel. Like I was digging his garb in that, riding a golden chariot. I was like, you've come up in the world, man. And then he sees his dad. It's a really touching scene with his dad, because we know that Joseph was Jacob's favorite. And you get to see the look on Joseph's face when he sees that his dad has kept his bloodied, tattered dreamcoat, like, as a memory of his son. Like, yeah. And Joseph basically just has, like, this, where did I come from? And here I am now. It's like like a full circle kind of thing.
Yeah. Which is nice, because they end it with the second song, I guess, technically, but the opening number they end it with.
Yeah, so they did a reprise.
And it's one of my favorite ones in any musical, really.
Yeah, it's good. It's an example of how the tone changes, because the first one, it's very upbeat. My coat of many, many colors, and then it's my coat of many, many colors.
Yeah, they start out with the song that he sings when he comes out in the mist, and it's like, hey, I wore my coat with golden lining, and then at the end it's like, I wore this coat with golden lining, bright colors shining. Like it's very, and the way that they staged it in this is pretty cool too, because they have sort of the coming together of those that the story was about and those the story's being told to.
Yeah, because the kids all come on stage and intermingle with Joseph and his dad and the narrator, and yeah, it's a good way of addressing it.
I've seen it done before too, where instead of having the narrator sing with him, it's his brothers, and it is really cool. Like, I get chills when I see it done that way.
That's pretty good too, because the brothers are kind of forced to again see, because they see the Technicolor Dreamcoat that's covered in goat blood that they passed off as their brother's blood, so it's kind of like this being forced to see a memory of their lies and treachery, and then kind of people forgiving each other. And, but then you did tell me that, at least in the Bible story, their dad goes on to like curse half his sons.
There's a lot of unhappiness that happens. It's the same with like the story of Noah and such, that there's a lot of anger that occurs later. But hey, this ends happy.
This ends happy.
Look at the keys. Look at the keys.
Then we do the curtain call with Technicolor. Okay, it's more like 90s club pop, but I guess it's not any weirder than anything that's already happened in the show.
Yeah, this is one of two shows that I can think of off the top of my head that do a mega mix. The other one, I think Grease does one, or at least there's a Grease mega mix that exists. Not the biggest fan of mega mixes. The Joseph one, when it's done well, can be a really effective curtain call, because I've seen it where... So what the mega mix is they take sections of each song and sort of reprise them during the curtain call. And so... say when Reuben comes out and does "There's One More Angel in Heaven," he does his curtain call during that. They have a reprise of the Benjamin Calypso, the "Oh No, Naughty," that song. They do a reprise of that. They end with a reprise of the "Give Me My Colored Coat," but they're all sort of mixed in and mixed together in sort of a mega mix, as they call it. Yeah. So that's...
Maybe that's why I thought it was some kind of weird techno thing, is because it's like all the songs...
Yeah, it's a medley. That's the word I was looking for.
It's all the songs put in a blender and then poured out.
Yes, it kind of is. That's the joy of a mega mix.
So, my final thoughts with this show, it is not my favorite.
Yeah.
It is not my favorite, I think, mostly because of how bizarre it was.
Mm-hmm.
I've noticed that my favorite, like, I don't mind, I love comedy.
Yeah.
I don't mind off-the-wallness. I don't mind bizarreness.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a little too world and fourth wall breaking for me.
Yeah.
I feel like if the songs would have been more in the time, at least,
Mm-hmm.
or at least they all stuck to a similar style, I might have liked it more.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, thinking of other musicals I've listened to, this one definitely kind of ranks down there for me.
That's fine. That's...
Not saying it wasn't well done, not saying the songs aren't good.
Yeah.
Just me personal taste. Because that's the thing, each one of the songs was good in its own right, but it was so
bizarre.
It was so bizarre, and maybe I am being a little too harsh. I think maybe if I went back and listened to it again, I might enjoy it more now that I know what to expect.
Yeah.
But I think not knowing what to expect, it kind of blindsided me a little bit.
Yeah. Which, honestly, though, that's a good way to go into it, because then you're not going into it... Because I went into it without any expectations when I was a kid, but I was also a kid.
You were also, like, the prime demographic for it,
Yeah.
probably.
I was a theater kid who also had done a lot of Bible study, because I had seen it in 98, so I would have been, like, 9. And I had already done a lot of Bible study just because that was, moving out here into Utah, you kind of had to in order to fit in with the culture here. And so, yeah, I feel like it was aimed at me specifically. Well, not specifically, like, not, this is Kay's musical, but just... it was aimed at kids like me, but also wider theater audiences.
They want to make Bible stories fun.
Yeah, and there's a reason that this show is really popular here.
That makes a lot of sense.
Out of the Bible-themed shows that exist, this is the most popular in Utah.
Well, I think the other reason for that is the Osmonds.
Yes, also the Osmonds,
which I will say, like, Donny Osmond did a great job.
He did.
It's funny because I don't know how many songs I've heard where he's singing, but the guy can sing. Like, he's a really good singer.
He is very talented. He's a very nice person.
He's got a very full mouth of teeth.
Mm-hmm.
He's got the kind of teeth that could eat other teeth.
He has gorgeous teeth. He was... I actually got to meet him backstage at Joseph in 98, and I was just like...
Oh, really?
My mom actually helped mainstream me just so that I could meet Donny Osmond. Like, she trained me to be able to give eye contact and such, just so that I could meet him, because I had a really hard time making eye contact, and so she said, okay, I want you to just look at the center of my forehead. You don't need to look in my eyes, but if you look at the center of my forehead, then it looks like you're looking into my eyes.
I can only picture, like, 9-year-old Kay meeting Donny Osmond, and just I bet how, like, nervous and excited you were, because you were, like I've said before, you're a really cute kid, so I bet you were just super, like, deer in headlights, but also excited.
I was so nervous. I was just like, this is Kay. And I said my full name.
Oh, your full name?
Yeah, and he was just like, oh, well, hello, this is Kay. This is Donny Osmond. And I was just like, oh my gosh.
That's adorable. That's cool.
Yeah, the Osmonds are good people. They're good. I like them.
So yeah, that was my thoughts on Joseph and the amazingly bizarre Dreamcoat.
No problem. This is not the weirdest show Andrew Lloyd Webber did, but it's up there.
I watched Cats, so I'm aware that this is not the weirdest show that...
And
Andrew
Cats wasn't the weirdest one either.
Oh, God. What else is there?
Starlight Express, which we'll see in 10 episodes.
Oh, I've heard you talk about that a bit, so I have 10 episodes to prepare myself mentally.
Yes. Yeah.
I know it involves trains.
Yes, it does.
Which, already I'm like, a show about trains? Like, Dude, how many drugs do you do? Like,
None.
I don't believe that. I do not believe that at all. He may be lying, but people are taking drugs to come up with some of these things. I'm saying that now.
I don't think he is, because I've seen some pretty crazy stuff from people that don't do drugs. Look at Weird Al Yankovic. He's completely sober.
Fair point.
Yeah.
Fair point.
He could just be a very creatively minded person, like Weird Al.
Or he's not taking anything that we consider drugs. He's like taking really old aspirin that's been mixed with rye bread or something like that. Like he's developed something new that isn't regulated or really known, so you can't call it a drug. He's got al juice, is what he's got. He ferments al juice in his basement, and it gives him his creativity.
Oh my gosh. Ew. That was Joseph in the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat.
Yep, sure was.
So, next week we're going to do a show that was near and dear to my heart in the 7th grade. But now it makes me go, ooh, yikes. We're going to do 7 Brides for 7 Brothers.
Okay.
Yep.
Another one that I've heard about, and people are amazed that I have not seen.
Yep, because this one's also ridiculously popular here in Utah.
Yes, it is.
Thank you so much for listening. We truly hope you enjoyed this. Please follow us on Twitter at Tone Deaf Musical, and like, share, and subscribe.
If you loved it, tell your friends and spread the word. If you want to go above and beyond, please donate to our Patreon, which is also Tone Deaf Musical.
That's it for this week. I'm Kay.
I'm Warren.
And this has been Tone Deaf.